transfer portal, a couple of weeks in now. I'm looking at available running backs. Rocket Sanders, just as we went off air Tuesday night from Arkansas, entered the transfer portal. Now, I'm not on our portal rankings council. I want to repeat that for those of you in the back that keep tagging me in this stuff. I am not on our portal rankings council, which means I'm not responsible for any of this. I'm not responsible for what your crystal balls look like or your player ratings look like. But that's good news because I can also low-key disagree with some of our ratings. For example, on the screen right now, Director Colin is showing you Trevor Etienne of Florida is in the portal, and he's our top-graded running back. I got nothing against Trevor Etienne. I'm just telling you, I don't really think Rocket Sanders, you may know him as Raheem, takes a back seat to anyone from Arkansas. Needless to say, they could both play at Pate State if we were deficient in that room, but no one ever leaves Pate State, so we're not. I am paying close attention to both of those guys, and Chip Trainum, who got plenty of playing time for Ohio State this year, he's also in there. And we've got some teams out there that need some difference makers at running back. Now, what's fascinating to me is to watch the prioritization of running backs from the neck up. Like, are you looking to be a feature back? Are you looking to carry the ball 22 times a game? Or are you looking to split carries with someone, keep as much tread on your tires as possible while maximizing exposure and getting good film, and then saving it, maybe adding a year or two on the back end of your pro career? Just one guy to another, they differ on how they think about that. What about Landon Humphreys? Landon Humphreys is a wide receiver at Vanderbilt, 6'3", 186 pounds. Vandy McConkey, as some people in our office have begun calling him, because there is a feeling, in crystal ball form no less, that he may be headed to Georgia. And there he goes running away from the Georgia secondary in the B-roll as we speak. There is also a feeling that he could be an instant plug-and-play there and kind of play that Ladd McConkey role. There's now a Ladd McConkey role at Georgia. He's no longer just a dynamic skill player. He has his own role. It's like an honorary scholarship, the McConkey Scholarship. You could have a building named after him down there in a couple of decades. 22 catches his freshman year, 439 yards, 4 touchdowns. Overwhelmingly, I keep hearing Georgia, and we heard Georgia as soon as the kid went in the portal. As of now, like as of this moment, it hasn't happened yet. Number 1 wide receiver in the entire portal as of this moment. Chris Paul Jr. from Arkansas is also in the portal. Number 1 linebacker in the entire thing right now. There is a crystal ball in to Ole Miss. And as always, we follow the crystal balls on this program, and more often than not, they make us look smart. Freshman All-SEC, that's what he was in 2022. I was thinking about this. I was over on the Ole Miss board earlier. I wish I remembered who posted it. There was a really good poster. Well, I think he's a really good poster, but he made a really good post over there earlier about what Lane Kiffin can sell right now. Lane Kiffin can legitimately sell competing for a national championship there. Do you realize that? Don't you hear what I said? Lane Kiffin has another 10-2 season under his belt, and they got a returning this and a returning that, and they've got proven production. Like we would call that a pop spot in our industry, a proof of performance reel. That's where if I think I have a really good opportunity to present a really good show, but advertisers say, no, I'm not giving you our money. Academy says, we're not taking your word for it. This is 1/10 of our ad budget you're asking for. No, we want to see you prove it. Well, what we do is we go and do a year's worth of shows, and then we put together a little sizzle reel or a pop spot, and then we send it to Academy, and it's basically a see, we told you so. Lane Kiffin's got a pop spot. He's got a couple of years, 3 years worth now, multiple years of pop material. They've got proof of performance, and all of a sudden, whether it's Chris Paul Jr. or someone else, Lane Kiffin does not walk up to you and say, hey, help us get there. Help us get to where we, one day could potentially compete for the SEC. He's going up to kids and saying, hey, help us win the SEC. Hadn't done it yet, but we're close, and we need a player like you, a player or 2 or 3 like you to push us over the top. They can sell that there. They haven't been able to sell that. When's the last time Ole Miss was selling that? And so keep an eye on that. Because I told you this time last year, Ole Miss, while they may not have the biggest NIL budget in the country, they're smart about it. I think in a lot of ways they've been cutting edge with the way they've gone about it. They've understood how to allocate resources. They've understood how to divide allocating for recruiting versus allocating for portal. And a lot of you would call that budgeting. I just call it talent acquisition and doing it the right way. And I think Ole Miss has a pretty good read on that. So keep an eye there. Staying in the state of Mississippi for just a second, Will Rogers in the portal from Mississippi State. That Michael Penix season or two that we just saw at Washington, it caught a lot of people's attention. And not too surprisingly, Will Rogers looks at what he once did at Mississippi State and then all of a sudden didn't do and could do again. It kind of sounds like the James Earl Jones speech in Field of Dreams. And it sounds like Will Rogers may want to go up to Seattle to fulfill that. Now, they got Austin Mack up there. In this past cycle, he was a 4-star quarterback. I think he was top 10. He was like number 8 in the country. And I was listening to Cooper and the guys talk earlier today. If Will Rogers landed at Washington, could kind of be a bridge quarterback. You know, he's going there probably for 1 year. And then you got Austin Mack in the future. And I know it's really hard to plan the future like that in college now, but that's the thinking. And he is, at the moment, a guy that I would expect to end up at Washington. What about Toriano Pride? He was in here the other day. I saw him walking the halls when we were doing the transfer portal show, and he has committed to Missouri. Now, that's a 5'11", 190-pound corner who was the number 40 overall prospect in the 2022 recruiting cycle. Said he kind of didn't feel like part of the team at Clemson. Didn't hear a lot from Dabo, and then heads in the portal, and Dabo hit him up, said, sorry, you're leaving. There's always more behind that sort of thing, so I don't even pretend to know the full dynamic there. But that was his side of that story. Couldn't get Dabo on the show tonight. I think he's kind of busy right now. So Missouri, as I have told you, well, I talked about it on the portal show the other day. I guess I'll say it here. I always believe in portal paradise. That's the plural of paradise. There are some portal paradise out there, otherwise known as places that are more attractive the second time around than they were in your initial recruitment. So let me spoil the ending for you. Missouri is probably not beating top 5 programs out for a lot of high school talent. You'll have the occasional exception, Luther Burden, for example. But by and large, your Bamas and your Georgias are swimming in a little bit different pool on signing day than Missouri is. But when the appeal of the bells and whistles fade, when the photo shoot with the rented Ferrari that has to be back by midnight isn't so appealing to you anymore, when you care about the meat instead of the cotton candy, in other words, when you've been in college a couple of years and you're looking to transfer and you just want to get down to business and you want to see the nuts and bolts aspects of a program, that's where Eli Drinkwitz and Missouri shine. That's where they can look at you and say, no, we don't have 5 waterfalls in our facility. What we do have is a proven track record of development and production. We have a specific plan tailored to what we can do for you. You may not have your name plastered coast to coast on the front of every newspaper, website, or magazine, but what we're going to give you a chance to do is compete in the best conference in America. We are going to take care of things on our end, and if you take care of things on your end, meet us in the middle there, you're going to have a chance to fulfill every one of your goals. And if that works for you, fine. If it doesn't, fine. That's the pitch. First time around, that doesn't work. Second time around, once you understand what college is actually about and none of the stuff that appealed to you as a high school recruit actually mattered, then that's where a Missouri, for example, can shine. I think they're really well positioned to do good in the portal for years to come.